And they had enough of the rebellion. And that rebellion was put down by the state governor Rockefeller, who sent in the, police and military and killed many prisoners and also killed their own prison guards.
Right. Right.
So August 21st to September 9th is very significant in the history of the political struggle. Since the prison hunger strike, we have an emerging political movement led by and organized prisoners, as it should be. Not led by, organized by non-profits, politicians, and all of that ilk, but by the prisoners, because they're the most impacted by this treatment and conditions. They are the experts. They know how it works. They can fix it. So we want to emphasize that. We appreciate the organizations contributing that work, but we want to be clear on that. They called this because it's gotten so bad in there. They've been giving food that on the packaging it says not for human consumption. And when they bitch about it, they're thrown into solitary confinement. If they organize around their conditions, they're targeted, they sent out of another state, or put in solitary confinement, or get given additional charges to keep them in there longer. This is what we're talking about. So, the Bay Area National Organizing Solidarity Committee, we wanted to amplify those voices. We wanted to support their petition, their 10 demands, and let not only know that the people outside. Now, when you're in prison, we used to say, when you're in prison, you're in maximum security. When you're outside, you're in minimum security. Because America is prison.
That's right.
As Malcolm X said, America's a prison. It's no United States. America's a prison storehouse of colonized nations. Let's be clear on that. Let's be very clear on that. So we're in solidarity with them. We want to let them know they may not hear us, but they'll know about it. We want to know that we came out, we're supporting them, we're supporting those demands. Most importantly, we're supporting this emerging prison movement that's going on right now. If they retaliate against us, if they retaliate against them, we're going to retaliate. Now don't get that twisted, all right? We're going to retaliate in an organized manner, in a constructive manner, and in a productive manner. Because we want to abolish prisons. And I'm sorry you just gotta have to look for another job, man. You gotta look for another job. We want to abolish it. We're not trying to reform them. That's saying you can reform racism.
Right.
That's saying you can reform capitalism. No reform. We want them abolished. We want to put them out of business. We want to put them out of work. And this is part of that effort. Now, we call this a mobilization and a call to action. We wanted to mobilize people, but we just didn't want to have just another mobilization, another rally where people come out, hold signs, talk shit, rah, rah, rah. That's okay. That's okay. And then go home. That's it. We're organizing, folks. We're building the power that's requisite that we're going to need to change this crap in this country. So, as we used to say in the Black Panther Party, we want power. People say power, what's that? That's the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. You understand what I'm saying? That's what we're about. That's what we're about. So we just didn't want to have another rally. We want some action to it. I was telling people on my bus today, we used to say in the Panther Party, all power to the people. A lot of people say that. But when we said it, we had to couple that with action. It was not just sloganeering, talking shit. We had to emphasize that with action. So how we used to say it back in the day, all power to the people reply was, death to the fascist pig. That's how it really, when you used to do that back in the 60s, 70s. I know y'all not that young. We say, hey brother, all power to the people. Hey brother, death to the fascist pig. Hey sister, death to the fascist pig. So, but that was the emphasize that it had to go beyond doing pumping your fist and saying all power to people. It had to have some action connected to that. That's how the people get power, with action, not with slogans. Slogans are not a movement. And a movement can be a slogan. I'm not going to mention that one. But anyway, So again, we want to welcome you here. As I said, as a response to the strike, this Bay Area National Prison Strike Solidarity Committee was came together, and I've had the opportunity, the privilege, and the honor to work with some of the most dynamic organizers in the Bay Area. I'm talking about Workers' World Party. I'm talking about IWOC, DSA San Francisco, the Anti-Police Jail Project, Poor Magazine, Millions for Prisoners, California Prison Focus, Prison Hunger Strike Solidarity Committee, Aslan Press, from San Jose all the way up to this part of the Bay, and we have folks in Los Angeles supporting us and that kind of thing too. So I think it would be a historical moment, and it's really glad to see you all out here. So I want to thank all my co-organizers. Thank you for all your effort, your diligence, putting up with my ass, and all of that. So I'm going to get off this thing. So again, all power to the people! All power to the people who ain't scared of no power! All power to the people who aren't afraid to see some power! All power to the people who are willing to take some power! All right. Now, our next speaker will bring up one of the original Pelican Bay hunger strikers, who also share the credit of being the catalyst to getting us to this point where we're at now. We haven't seen this type of emerging prison movement since the days of George Jackson, since the days of Attica, and on the other folks I can't mention right now. But we're seeing it happening again because that's what happens. Pressure busts a pipe. You understand what I'm saying? Pressure busts the pipe. And that's what's happening right now. These people are fighting. These people are not saying, let us all out of prison. Some of them not even saying, abolish prisons. They're emphasizing on their treatment and the conditions on a plantation, a new plantation, where the practices are the same as the plantations during slavery. When chattel slavery was abolished, the conditions and the treatments of the former slaves did not change. It actually got worse. So we're here addressing that. We can connecting those dots. But again, I want to bring you up Joey Villarreal with the Prison Hunger Strike original OG.
I want to thank you all for coming today. It's being here. I first entered these gates at the age of 18. I was criminalized at the age of 12. So for me to be here is a very special thing. I know what these prisoners are going through. I was on hunger strike, as Brother Bilal said, at the Pelican Bay Shoe hunger strike in 2013, where we went, 60 days without eating. We were there. It was 30,000 prisoners involved. It's very important that we support these strikes. The same conditions that I participated in continue to happen today. Here in San Quentin, they still have people held in solitary confinement. Solitary confinement is torture. It's torture. What they did is they built a whole prison up in Crescent City to house solitary confinement prisoners. That's a concentration camp. So the reason they had this, this prison up in Pelican Bay built is to target leaders and organizers within the prison system. These prisoners are mostly oppressed nations, peoples, brown and black folks. So what happens is they pluck us out of the community. They imprison us. And once we're in prison and begin to organize within each other, within our nations and our peoples and our group factions, what happens is the state criminalizes us. They criminalize our tattoos. They say they're gang related. They criminalize our language. They say that we use gang language. They criminalize every aspect of our culture within the prisons. And this is not a new phenomenon. If you study any society, any colonized society, you'll find that every colonizer nation has always targeted the culture of the oppressed nations that they were colonizing. They've done it all over the world. They continue to do it. In Israel, the state of Israel, the colonizer, they continue today to criminalize the Palestinian culture. You know, they're talking about passing a law where if you wave a Palestinian flag, it's going to be a crime. Well, guess what? In U.S. prisons, if we have a Mexican flag, we will get a write-up. We will get criminalized for having our flag. So what happens in one colonized nation also happens in another colonized nation. And America is a colonizer nation. It is an oppressor nation. You know, it's a terrorist organization. So it's very important the prisoners right now are developing. Their hunger strike is a sign, it's a signal of class consciousness within the prisons. It's a sign that they're resisting the state. And it's important that we are here supporting their resistance because they are resisting for us, because they suffer more repression than us. They get the ass heel, the front heel of the repression, so they're in the front lines. This is enemy lines. This is enemy lines right here. So we gotta know that, you know, a lot of people, a lot of organizations and groups see prisoners as part of the lumping class. They see prisoners as being reactionary and cannot benefit any future revolution. But these prisoners today are showing us that's not true. They're showing us that prisoners can be a benefit to any future revolution. They can resist the state. They can actually resist the state in more ways than people are resisting out here. So it's very important that we identify that. You know, some of the things that I've seen in prison is I've seen the development. I've seen prisoners organize study groups. And guess what? In Pelican Bay SHU, if you organize a study group studying political education, it's criminalized. So you're going to be held in solitary for a longer time. So any form of resistance, any form of development, positive development, the prisoners attempt to make is criminalized and repressed by the state. And what they do is they label it a gang. They label it any activity as gang. But let's look at the word gang. And if we look at the word gang, the biggest gang in the world is the U.S. military. The biggest gang within U.S. borders is the police. Because if you look at the definition of a gang, it's a group of people that come together with a common uniform, with the common purpose, who commit crimes. And what are they doing in our streets? They're murdering our people. They're murdering unarmed people.
That's right.
Children, women, everybody.
That's right.
So this is something that we have to understand what we're existing under. We're existing under an oppressor nation. We're existing under a form of repression that often uses the legal system. Because back in the days, you know, they didn't have to use the legal system. They could come snatch one of us up, hang us from a tree.
That's right. That's right.
What happens now is a lot of the oppressed nations, a lot of brown and black folks are beginning to attempt to assimilate into America. So now they have to use different forms of repression. Now they use the legal system. They criminalize us. They put gang enhancements. But as I've said, the biggest gangs are part of this U.S. government. So, you know, we gotta understand our social reality. You know, for the Chicano nation, you know, we're standing on occupied land. We're suffering under an occupation. These are occupied territories. In Palestine, they suffer under occupied territories. Guess what? This is Aslan. These are occupied territories. This is our national territory. You have the First Nations as well, who America came, inflicted genocide on. They came and murdered over 1 million people. They came to starve this land. And then they set up these concentration camps like San Quentin to house the people, the very people they are oppressing.
That's right.
So it's very important that we understand not only what we're going through, what the oppressed nations are going through. These prisoners in here are fighting against slavery.
Yep.
For those who didn't know, slavery is still legal in the U.S. under the 13th Amendment of the Constitution. It's legal to have prisoners, to have people working in prisons for free, working for nothing, laboring for nothing. That's slavery. So this is one of the main things prisoners are addressing. This is one of their demands. They want to be paid for their labor. They don't want their labor being exploited. This is one of their demands. You know, another demand, they don't want to be tortured. They don't want to be held in solitary confinement. And people right now in San Quentin are being held in solitary confinement. So these are the main demands people are asking for. They're asking for many more. And the fact that prisoners across the U.S. are getting involved, 17 states plus. This shows that prisoners are developing. They're developing politically. They're organizing. They're studying. They're forming study groups. They're learning about their oppression. You know, Asada Shakur said, the first step you got to take is teaching somebody that they're oppressed before they can struggle against their oppression, because most people don't even know they're oppressed out here. They don't understand it. You know, most people, most brown and black folks think they're Americans. We are not American. America is the oppressor nation. We are not part of the oppressor. We have our own national interests. We have our own goals and objectives. We have our own struggles that are separate from America. America is an oppressor. And anybody who sides, it doesn't matter what nationality you come from. You know, of course, America is mostly a white oppressor nation. However, as we see here, there are many white allies who are not going to go with that bullshit with America. So one of the things that is very important that we continue to support these strikes. I remember being in prison when the talk, you know, there was chatter in the beginning. This was years ago when we were talking about there has to be a day, a yearly day for prisoners across the U.S. to have some kind of action, to bring unity within all prisoners across the U.S. I remember when this was talk, and now the day has come, and now it's here. You know, and the 21st is very significant. It's very symbolic that we are here at San Quentin. You know, that we know that this is the place where, you know, the anniversary of George Jackson's assassination. And so it's very important, it's very symbolic. All of you here, no matter how many people are here, today this is the beginning. And as years go on, we're going to see this group get bigger and bigger. And I just want to thank you all for coming and to continue this resistance with the prisoners inside these concentration camps.
Thank you!
Joey Villarreal. Check out the Facebook page, Aslan Press. Joey is a brilliant artist also too, and he promotes prison art and that sort of thing. So check that out. So we want to bring up our next speaker. She's part of the Millions for Prisoners. They had a big march last year, I believe, in Washington, promoting prisoner rights. And they kicked off the August 21st in San Jose with a action in March. Newbie Brown. Newbie Brown. Newbie. Newbie, baby. Newbie Brown. I'm auditioning for American.
That's awesome out there. Wow, I was standing up in the front. Oh, this is beautiful to see all of you out there. I can't see you with these glasses on. I have to wait till I'm reading. thank you so much. It's so inspirational to be up here and be able to come after Bilal and Joey. You guys are amazing. Thank you. And all of you, thank you so much for coming out here. So I don't want to talk that much because I really think this is definitely a day for the voices of these men and women that are being tortured in these prison camps. And so the one thing that I want to say, though, is the mass media is getting on this national strike. And I think it's really important that we make sure that they don't steal the narrative. Because right now they're starting in with the sensationalizing of the one issue around prison slavery. And they're already with their talking heads talking about what it is or what it isn't and trying to say what they are calling prison slavery. It is prison slavery. We don't need them trying to tell us something different. So we really need to make sure that we claim the narrative, because the mass media, they can't wait to sensationalize what's going on. And this isn't what it's about. These men and women are in there fighting for their human rights. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Okay, so with that in mind, what I would like to do, if you would join in with me, is I would like to read the 10 demands. And after each demand, will you say, "We hear you"? Okay.
I saw that.
Yeah, no, I got it here. I just have to put my glasses on. Sure. Perfect. Oh, do you want to read the one in Spanish? Well, I can't do it in Spanish, but that'd be awesome. That's the English. No, I have the English one. Okay, perfect. All right, so, this is so beautiful, Laura, thank you. Okay, so we're going to read English, then Spanish, then y'all chime in. Okay, number 1, these are the national demands of the men and women in federal, immigration, and state prison torture chambers. Number 1, immediate improvements to the conditions of prisons and prison policies that recognize the humanity of imprisoned men and women.
Off the pigs.
Mejorías inmediatas a las condiciones de las prisiones y las políticas penitenciarias que reconocen la humanidad de los hombres y mujeres encarcelados.
Off the pigs.
Number 2, an immediate end to prison slavery. All persons imprisoned in any place of detention under United States jurisdiction must be paid the prevailing wage in their state or territory for their labor. Un fin inmediato a la esclavitud penitenciaria. Todas las personas encarceladas en cualquier lugar de detención bajo la jurisdicción de los Estados Unidos deben recibir el salario prevaleciente en su estado o territorio por su trabajo. The Prison Litigation Reform Act must be rescinded, allowing imprisoned humans a proper channel to address grievances and violations of their rights. El Prison Litigation Reform Act debe rescindirse, lo que permitirá a las personas encarceladas un canal adecuado para abordar sus quejas y violaciones de sus derechos. Number 4, the Truth in Sentencing Act and the Sentencing Reform Act must be rescinded so that imprisoned humans have a possibility of rehabilitation and parole. No human shall be sentenced to death by incarceration or serve any sentence without the possibility of parole. We hear you! La ley Truth in Sentencing Act y la ley Sentencing Reform Act deben rescindirse para que los humanos encarcelados tengan la posibilidad de rehabilitación y libertad condicional. Ningún ser humano será sentenciado a muerte por encarcelamiento ni cumplirá ninguna sentencia sin posibilidad de libertad condicional. En español, ¡los escuchamos! ¡Los escuchamos! Number 5. An immediate end to the racial overcharging, oversentencing, and parole denials of black and brown humans. Black humans shall no longer be denied parole because the victim of the crime was white, which is a particular problem in the southern states. We hear you! Un fin inmediato al parcial sobre sentencia y negación de libertad condicional a los compañeros negros y Brown. A los compañeros negros ya no se les negará la libertad condicional porque la víctima del crimen es blanca, lo cual es un problema particular en el sur. Number 6. An immediate end to racist gang enhancement laws targeting black and brown humans. We hear you! Un fin inmediato a las leyes racistas de intensificación de sentencias para pandillas dirigidas a los compañeros negros y raza.
¡Nos escuchamos!
Los escuchamos. How do I say it? Los escuchamos. Los escuchamos!
¡Nos escuchamos!
Number 7. No imprisoned human shall be denied access to rehabilitation programs at their place of detention because of their label as a violent offender.
We hear you!
A ningún ser humano encarcelado se le negará el acceso a programas de rehabilitación en su lugar de detención debido a una etiqueta de delincuente violento. ¡Los escuchamos! Number 8. State prisons must be funded specifically to offer more rehabilitation services.
We hear you!
That's their goal. Las prisiones estatales deben ser financiadas específicamente para ofrecer más servicios de rehabilitación.
¡Nos escuchamos!
Number 9. Pell Grants must be reinstated in all U.S. states and territories.
We hear you!
Se deben reinstalar las becas Grant en todos los estados y territorios de los Estados Unidos. ¡Los escuchamos!
¡Nos escuchamos!
Number 10. The voting rights of all confined citizens serving prison sentences, pre-trial detainees, and so-called ex-felons must be counted. Representation is demanded. All voices count.
We hear you!
Se deben contar los derechos de voto de todos los ciudadanos encerrados que cumplen penas de prisión, detenidos en prisión preventiva y los llamados ex-delincuentes. Se demanda la representación, todas nuestras voces cuentan. Los escuchamos.
¡Nos escuchamos!
Thank you so much. This is about their human rights. About all their human rights. Okay, it's really important that we know about what these 10 demands are so that we can support them in getting those demands met. There are people, so I'm with California Prison Focus. We are one of the members and founders of the Prisoners Human Rights Coalition of California. We are going to be doing a teach-in on the 10 demands with Joey is going to be doing that, Jose Villarreal. So please, those folks that are part of the Prisoners Human Rights, will you raise your hand and make sure that you, so somebody can talk to you, and please find out if you can come to our event that's happening in San Jose. I think all of you have one of the flyers. It's really important that we are all educated on what these demands are, what it is that they mean. So if you don't know, educate yourself. If somebody, find out in the audience here with this beautiful, supportive group of people, if you know what these demands are and how to explain them to make sure that people know, please talk to each other and make sure that we know so that we can stand strong and in solidarity with these men and women fighting for their human rights. The last thing that I want to do is I want to give voice to Joka Hashima Jinsai. He is incarcerated here. He's being tortured. He's imprisoned in a California state prison, and he so bravely and beautifully recorded a speech, the Black August Movement, and I would like to play that for you. It's such an honor to be able to have his voice. Sharat, do we have the bullhorn? And Matt, we need the... Perfect.
Laura. Put it in the speaker if you have a thumb drive.
No. I'm sorry, why do we do that?
It's USB.
Oh, you're trying to.
I can do
What are you
auxiliary
trying to
audio
do?
if I just want to play the USB.
I don't think we have a problem with sound.
Oh, no. It's just that the voice is on the USB and so it's going to play. Do we have a USB port to put through here?
Are you trying to play some music? What is it you're trying to do?
It's a recorded speech.
It's on what kind of music?
It's on a USB drive.
We need a computer.
Let's not.
We need a computer.
I didn't know you were bringing it. They have it connected to the phone, but we don't have it.
All right, wait, I turn this off. Sorry, folks. Okay. Thank you again for being here. Sorry for the technical difficulty. Heshima is considered a political prisoner, and as you know, the United States tries to say that we don't have political prisoners here. That we point the finger at other countries, talking about how they're violating human rights because they have political prisoners. We have political prisoners here. They're here. Oh, okay. This is Heshima. I'm going to give him space. What are we going to do? Okay.
Greetings, sisters and brothers. A wise man said, no one can be your master unless you consent to be a slave. This is the primary premise behind Amendment 13. Amendment 13 was conceived in the bowels of corporate shooting as the next logical step in our struggle to end, once and for all, the exploitation of human bondage in America, to end legal slavery. Black August Memorial started in the crucible of resistance to the excesses of the prison industrial slave complex in California's concentration camps in the late 1970s, and the sacrifices born from that resistance. Historically, institutions of human bondage in America are based on racism, dehumanization, and brutality, and the transition from the chattel slave system to the penal slave system saw no abatement in this trend. Instead, we saw an entire industry spring up around the trinity of hate and human misery. But as with Gabriel Prosser, Nat Turner, Robert Delaney, and so many others before them, imprisoned African revolutionary nationalist guerrillas were disinclined to accept the prescribed role of oppressed man and rebelled against the notion of passively accepting being reduced to mere commodities in America's new prison industrial slave complex. Every assault on the dignity or person of new African prisoners by sadistic guards or racist prisoners was met with a counter-assault, and they developed self-defense to an art form rooted in unity and rejection of the capitalist state's attempts to warp the character structure of new African prisoners into the apolitical social degenerates they so deeply wished us to be. No. Instead, these attempts to strip us of our humanity only acted as a catalyst for many to rediscover that humanity. And conscious new African prisoners exemplified this determination by refusing to subordinate themselves to any force which did not accord them the full dignity of their humanity. This unbowed attitude led to the inescapable realization that prison was a socially hostile microcosm of society itself, and the centuries-long injustices and usurpations that had led so many in a direct line from the hold to the slave ships to the tears of San Quentin, Folsom, Tracy, and Soledad would not end without a victorious revolutionary change in the nation's structure of society itself and the core psychology of the people who made it up. A change in your psychology. Leaning on the science of dialectical materialism, these new African prisoners first turned the burning spear of social change on themselves, confronting their internal contradictions, individually and collectively, which lie at the heart of our oppression. Internal revolution. The political, social, cultural, and ideological transformation of one's core psychology swept the imprisoned new African, and California's prison industrial slave complex trembled at the guerrillas that emerged from the midst of loosely defined black unity. Structured and organized, the social, economic, and political analysis and solutions of imprisoned new Africans in California became the most advanced in the nation, and their thought cast a shadow of the panther and the gorilla across the face of American fascism, both inside and out. As the tide of revolution rolls across the nation, fueled by the reverberations of the prison movement, The state did what it has done since New Africans were brought to these shores in 1619. They resorted to the underlying basis of the state, violence. Unable to contain or cow the new African, they resorted to what had served them for centuries: murder, terror, and naked brutality. Even as we resisted, the reactionary violence of the state martyred some of the best of humanity. W.L. Noble, Alvin Big John Miller, Cleveland Evans, Jonathan Jackson, William Christmas, George Jackson, Jeffrey Qatari Gaulden, and so many others were murdered by the state. But unlike generations past, for every freedom fighter martyred, be it by medical neglect or outright assassination, he or she was avenged by the steam of New African counter-violence.
Okay, that's all we have.
All right. A little education there, right? What it's all about, right? What that's through linking them struggles, right? It's not just about prison, it's about the larger prison, right? America, as Malcolm X said. That's what America means, prison. So many people here in prison with their ignorance and their apathy and so forth. All right, I want to bring up another one of our co-conspirators with IWOC, Cole Dorsey.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Bilal. I really appreciate being here with you all today and seeing how many people showed up. That's very inspiring. I want to say what an honor and privilege it is to be here with you all today on behalf of Oakland IWOC, and I want to thank you specifically from a member that I speak with regularly, that he specifically wanted to mention how he won't be able to see us or hear us, but that he'll think of us and know that there are people out there that actually care about him. Been in over 20 years, doesn't have family, doesn't have any other correspondence besides us. So that's what it really means. All this at the end of the day, it's people that have been forgotten about, have been warehoused in these facilities where they say there's no profit-making work for them anymore. So we need to control them. We need to put them in these facilities where we can strip them of all their rights, put them in a cell just by all alone, give them a food loaf, and that's considered human rights, or at least it's legal in this country. And the worst day that we have out here, never forget, the worst day that we have in this so-called free world is still better than the best day incarcerated in a detention facility, a juvenile hall, or a prison. No matter what, hands down. It's the difference between deciding to have a job or not have a job, or go to work or not, or to break the law or not, or the difference of not someone telling you when you can get up, when you can eat, when you can go to the bathroom, shuttle you around like cattle, treat you, dehumanize you on all levels that you can imagine. And the second that you try to attempt to fight back on your own, instantaneously you're labeled and classified higher and put in a different area where they treat people who speak out or attempt to exert their rights or stand up for themselves or their fellow prisoners. So that's why the prisons exacerbate racial and religious tensions, because it supports their goal of keeping the prisoners divided, not united. Just like on the outside, they want us divided, not united. There's power in unity. That's no good for them. And it's also a big deal for this prisoner I correspond with, because as me being in, I only did a few years, so it's nothing in comparison to a lot of the people I talk with and people with life without parole. Closer. Okay, is that people without an out date, people that this is their life to the rest of their life. As people that have been incarcerated, or you have family or friends that have been, you know that hours turn into days, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years. Life goes on for us on the outside. We have bills to pay, we have kids, we have responsibilities. On the inside things stop, shuts down completely, 100%. Not mentally, you can still read and write, but as far as your life is concerned, what can you contribute to? You have no more access to rehab. You have no more access to skills for college or trades, any other type of thing. You're warehoused. You sit and you wait, and you might get out. For me, they gave me a tail, 2 to 20 years. That's typically what they give. So they have this big, long tail that they give you, so that if you ever do mess up, then you're right back in. That this system is designed to keep you inside, not to rehabilitate you or to get you outside to be a contributing member of society. That's not the goal. That's not the goal, especially for black and brown people, especially. So it's important to these prisoners that we are taking this step and taking our Saturday off and coming out here to San Quentin and making noise like we can and corresponding with them, talking on the phone, meeting with them, getting relationships built with their families, with them, correspondence in the mail, because otherwise these people, some haven't had correspondence in years. It's difficult for family to stay in touch. If there was already strained relationships, now these people have had no one, had no contact or no interest in them or who they are for the last 10 or 20 years. That's a big difference. It's a big change. And we need to continue to facilitate that and show them that they are still our neighbors. They are still our mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. Planning Justice called it out in the recent video, and he said I'll paraphrase, but he considered himself a survivor, a black man. He's a survivor of a system that was designed in such a way to warehouse him, not designed to give him the skills necessary to become a productive member of society and to pay taxes and to do all those other things. It was designed to not give him those resources, not offer him access to those resources, but make it much easier to incarcerate you at higher and higher lengths, greater and greater sentences like they're nothing. They give 20 years out like it's candy, like it's nothing, like it's nothing. Because it's nothing to them. We're criminals, we're below them. It's a class they've created of 2.5 million people inside, 5 million people that are on some type of house arrest, tether, monitoring, parole, probation. That's 7.5 million people. That's a large chunk of your population that are monitored, controlled, watched. And if you mess up, you go right back in. And they'll give you, when you go see the parole board in a violation, they don't give a month or two to think about it. 12s, that's your minimum. 12 months. 24s. Easy. 36. Go 36 months, think about it, and come back and talk to us. They give it out like it's candy, like it's nothing, because it doesn't affect them. It affects this other class they've created of prisoners, of convicted people, of gang members that they've designated. So I really just want to say that these 10 demands is a human rights declaration. It's not revolutionary in itself, in and of itself. It's asking for basic humane conditions and access to rehabilitation and legal services. They're not necessarily revolutionary in and of themselves, but we still support them and we'll do what we can to popularize and promote them, because this is what the prisoners have drafted as a way to get to their goals of being recognized as a class of human beings that deserve the same rights as human beings across the world. That doesn't change the fact that we're still abolitionists in Iowa and we're still revolutionaries. So we'll obviously continue to communicate, we'll continue to do all the things that we do to stay in touch with these prisoners and try to coordinate these strikes and spread the message to prisoners throughout the world, which we've been able to do. But at the end of the day, our fight, what we do, will continue until there is no more San Quentin, until there is no more detention facilities, until there is no more juvenile halls. We fight till it's over. So just as this system can't function without those of us on the outside going to school and going to our jobs every day, prison is the exact same. The state could not operate without the slave labor of inmates. In 2016, it was 30,000 prisoners, showed what the effect of a one-day strike could do. And now, due to the outbreak and the death at Lee Correctional Facility in South Carolina in January, prisoners realize that they have nothing to lose. If it's not death by torture, it could be through a calculated design created in a system that forces people to link up for survival. So then we'll put these people that have linked up in ways to support themselves all together. And then you all fight amongst yourselves. We'll stack the bodies up, literally what they did at Lee facility. And then we'll say, we have a problem. We need more money. We need more taxpayer money. We don't get paid enough. We need more prisons. We need more infrastructure. It's too dangerous. It's a system that they designed. It's a system that they created. And it's definitely thought out and well planned out as well. So, I also just want to make it very clear that this is definitely a revolutionary, but it's also an anti-fascist movement. Absolutely. While we will communicate and correspond with so-called Nazis on the inside, they can't be in our union. We have come to, prisoners have, through the hunger strikes at Pelican Bay, came to an agreement to end hostilities. So that's for the duration of the desired collective actions that they decided to take. That doesn't mean we organize with Nazis. So Oakland IWOC has a mutual political education. As a part of that, what we do is recognize and analyze that this state is a system, in our analysis of a whole system and state of incarceration as an exemplification of institutional racism and white supremacy, particularly, obviously of black and brown people and marginalized LGBTQ. It's designed this way. And we recognize this as a vital component of the cultural state and the institution of racism in this country. So that's it. So I'm going to close out with this because I don't want to be too long-winded. I went in front of some great leaders. Right here. I'm going to end it with this. Don't let this be your last day of action. Don't come out today and post on your Facebook. I was out there with a couple hundred people in San Quentin, and we stood up for the prisoners across the country, August 25th, blah, blah, blah. Again, this is an anti-fascist revolutionary movement that doesn't end until we win. So you have an opportunity. You can say, what did you do with your life? If you speak with a younger person in 20-so years, and his situation is much different. Hopefully we've reached a revolution by that point. But they can say, a young person asks you, what were you doing at that time? You can say, well, on September 9th, 2018, I was standing outside of San Quentin State Prison with flags and signs and to stand up for motherfucking prisoners' rights and prisoners all over the country. Okay, all right. So finally, I end with that. And again, we're here for all those that are refusing to maintain the conditions of their confinement, as one of our leaders has pointed out, is what the strike actually does. The system now has become what it is, a wholesale warehousing of people for which no profit-making work exists. I encourage you to get in touch with all the groups involved here. Support Bayview, they're instrumental. Support California Prison Focus, IWOC, support these prisoners in their strikes. If they ask us to boycott, then we'll do it. If they ask to come out here and make noise, we'll do it. Whatever they ask, let's do it collectively, and let's support these people because they are our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers and fathers. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Cole, putting it down, putting the real down. Putting the real down. How y'all feeling? Y'all still? Are you sure? If living in America has got you pissed, bump your fist. If you're tired of seeing these people get dissed, bump your fist. If you ever had handcuffs on your wrist, both of them, bump your fist. And you're sick and tired of this goddamn American racist capitalist shit, bump your fist. All right, our next speaker we want to bring up, this is another thing, another variable and and incarceration. Many times, if you're incarcerated, your family's also going through that too. When I was in prison, my poor little daughter, to make sure I had money for toilet paper, money for soap, money for coffee, would go out and take all her money she earned at 14 years old babysitting and would send that money to me. And I had to tell her to stop that. They passed a law when I was in Folsom that any money was sent in, the prison taxed it 20% to go to restitution. The prisoners weren't paying for that. Your families or family members are paying for restitution, and they hadn't even been convicted of anything. So that shows you the exploitative nature and how families are paying up to $25, $30 on phone calls. To talk to their loved ones, to stay in communication with their loved ones. So the families are doing time too. So we're going to have a family member come up here to one of our folks who's being held behind enemy lines in these gulags, Jill McLemore.
Welcome. My name is Jill McLemore, and I was born and raised here in Marin County, a mom of 3 sons. Closer? Yes, my name is Jill McLemore, and I'm a mother of a son who's currently in Pelican Bay State Prison. He's 21 and maximum security.
Damn.
He told me a person was just stabbed on the yard just 2 days ago, and the guards just let him bleed out. But he's not empowered to say or do anything because he's afraid there. He's only 21, even though he's 6'5". I want to say to everyone that's here, it's really good to see that you're supporting and fighting against his criminal justice system. Because it's wrong. It's wrong. Of course, we need the police to protect us in our communities. I'm totally for that. But what we don't need judges who have already decided a person is guilty before they've had a trial. It's just a waste of time to hire a lawyer or for you to even show up at court because your decision's already been made with the district attorney and judge. I want a recall on all judges. That's my focus as a parent, as a person. Recall all these judges in each county that practice that kind of procedure when people legally are not able to exercise their right. I hired an attorney, paid him $22,000, who was a total ripoff because the judge had already made up his mind. And of course the attorney has to have money to live, so it's an easy ripoff for him. So I want to say to people, think about recalling the whole system, the criminal justice system, the judicial system. Let's get people out that do not follow the law. Our loved ones are in prison because they have been accused of not following the law. Let's remove the people that say they uphold the law, that have sworn to uphold the law and not be racist. I want to do a recall on them. That's who needs to be recalled. And for the men in all prisons, I pray that God's will be done in their life, that they will have visions and miracles that will release them, and that they would have the opportunity to live in society, that they're not all institutionalized. That's what I pray for. I receive phone calls from at least 5 different prisons from young men that have nobody to talk to. Usually it's not my son. It's other people's sons. I've been approved for 10 prisons to visit. I've spent a lot of time with other people's sons. Now it's my son. I was a case manager here in this county for 30 years. I helped a lot of people's sons and families. I used to work in the court system advocating. I know all the judges. My son lawyer told me that the judge do better if I don't come to court, because he was very mean. When he sees me, he acts very ugly. So I have not been going to court in the past because he do responds better if he don't see my face. So it's real, y'all. And I just want to say for the men that are standing up right now, God bless them. They continue to be strong. Because you know it's really hard to find people that stand by what they really mean, that don't wade like the water back and forth. It's very rare.
It's very hard to find people that have a belief and they stand by it to the end. And I want to say thank you for allowing me to speak today, and thank you guys for coming out here.
And that's what it's about. That's what we're doing. We're going to organize family members who are also impacted, who are forced to do time with their loved ones and their friends, to organize this. These are the folks who need to be on the forefront, along with prisoners and former prisoners. That's what we're talking about. That's real grassroots. All right, so the next guest we're going to bring up, we mentioned earlier about the significance of being here, the significance of San Quentin to the historic prison struggles. And we talked about George Jackson, right? Yeah. We talked about George Jackson. Those people, the lawyers, the attorneys who took the risk and went in to defend our political prisoners before these type of people were also persecuted. We're also hounded down, and we're also jailed. So we're going to bring up right now George Jackson's lawyer, Stephen Bingham, who was accused, let's get this, don't get it twisted. He was accused of smuggling in a motherfucking gun and a tape recorder. George Jackson was set up, y'all. All that narrative and those movies and what that's a bunch of bullshit. He was set up and assassinated by the San Francisco prison administration, and this brother had to leave the country because they were going to get him, and they accused him. He taught a law class called Warrior Lawyers. That was the course. We love warrior lawyers. We don't like ambulance chasing lawyers. Every time the police does something to somebody, they jump in the fray and tell the people to stay out of the organizing and up and make money and get that blood money and go away. But we got a real warrior lawyer, and we're honored to have him here, George Jackson's lawyer, Stephen Bingham.
Warrior lawyer. Well, I didn't prepare anything. They just pulled me off. But I'm proud to be here today. 33 years ago, I was acquitted of the charges of bringing a gun inside a tape recorder. I had to flee for my life back in 1971. Those of you old enough to remember, it was a very dicey time. Nobody supported prisoners in those days. And one of the things today that just blows me away, aside from a lot of people here, I don't know if you're paying attention to how many people are tooting their horns as they drive by. There's a shift in opinion about prisoners in this country that is due to all of the struggle and hard work that people have done over the years in support of prisoners. And one of the reasons I'm out here today is partly just the 10 demands that are national. I think this may be the first time there's been a national strike, and they're incredibly moderate demands. And they actually remind me, for those of you who remember, 2 weeks after George Jackson was killed inside San Quentin, 43 people were killed at Attica in New York. And they took as inspiration for their struggle what had happened out here. And the amazing thing about their demands was how moderate they were. And unfortunately, the power structure doesn't listen to moderate demands. And the result sometimes is that people get less moderate. So maybe they should start paying attention. The other shift that is important when you talk to people who may not be as convinced as you about the righteousness of what this struggle is about is even Republicans these days are realizing that the recidivism rates are so high because people are shit on inside and then they are released and they're mad, they're angry, understandably. And so one of the ways for more moderate people to get behind these demands is to realize if you don't accept some of these demands, you're going to have angry people, because most people do get out of prison, not all. But these demands are a way to humanize what's going on in prisons, at least somewhat, and even protect people on the outside from angry people who get out after 5 or 10 years. So I'm proud to be here. I'm excited. There's almost, I don't think there's anyone my age. This is young people. It's wonderful. The generation is, there are a few of us, but it's young people. It's you know, we left a pretty shitty world for you to inherit, but it's exciting to see so many people out here. So, thank you.
All right. So, y'all getting some history out here today, huh? All those relics. So, that's what I tell my students. But anyway, or they call me that. So my next comrade is going to bring it up. I love her. She is one of the real revolutionaries out here.
He might be able to win a new trial, and we're confident that if he wins that new trial, that he will be exonerated and freed. And so we have a rally for him coming up this Tuesday, the 28th, at Oscar Grant Plaza, downtown Oakland, at 4 p.m. And we would really appreciate people coming out to support that. Mumia Abu Jamal, for some of you younger folks who may not be familiar with him, does all kinds of talks from behind the bar on prison radio, and he supports not only all the other prisoners, be they so-called political prisoners or other prisoners, but he supports the movement as a whole and struggles internationally and around the world, and for that reason he has support from all over the world. But anyways, please come out Tuesday, August 28th, 4 p.m. at Oscar Grant Plaza, 14th and Broadway in Oakland. So that's one thing I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to say is actually, in addition to the Bayview, the Workers' World newspaper has provided free subscriptions for prisoners for countless years. I don't know how many. It's been a very long time around the country. And so, from last spring through this summer, we've been publishing articles in almost every single issue about prisoner struggles around the country. So when you support Workers' World, you're helping also, as far as the newspaper goes, you're helping to get free subscriptions for prisoners around the country. So I know some of you were handed papers and all that, but just so you know, that's been a long-time policy. And Brother Steve, he talked about people didn't care about the prisons back then, but we did. I was there too. So we had a committee called the Prisoner Solidarity Committee that did solidarity actions around the country. And one of our comrades, Tom Soto, Puerto Rican comrade, was invited by the Attica prisoners to be one of their negotiators during the Attica Rebellion. And he was inside helping with their negotiations during the rebellion. So we go way back in terms of prisoner support too. I was in Michigan at the time, and we did countless demonstrations at Jackson State Prison in Michigan, and Tohoku, which is a women's prison, Detroit House of Corrections, and Wayne County Jail, a number of places. But anyways, I just want to close with giving a shout out to a comrade of ours in San Diego. His nephew is on death row here in San Quentin, and the brother, his name is Jean-Pierre Rices, is only 32 years old. He's been on death row for 10 years. And he's a 32-year-old brother on death row right here in San Quentin. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him. Thank you. Turn on the walls.
So we say, what's the call? 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 You know, I had a dream the other night. I'm, always grappling with this prison. How are we going to shut them down, man? I mean, I know we got to get organized. I'm just saying, you know, it gets frustrating sometimes to work, but I had a dream the other night, and I dreamed they were shut down because every prisoner came out of prison, became out of Malcolm X. They came out of George Jackson, right? And on and on and on, and they shut them down. They shut them down. Do you know you can be put in solitary confinement if you have a book by George Jackson or Malcolm X? Back east in the prisons, the prison administrations, they do it here. They call it Pantherism. Pantherism. If you have a comic book, you can be put in a hole if they deem it subversive. But they call it Pantherism. So we have a movement, the New African Prison Movement and others are building and organizing prisoners there, and they're being targeted. And these books are not allowed in. And if you're caught with a book or a tract or a newsletter that's talking about revolution or just changing this goddamn rotten, archaic, parasitic system, you can be put in the hole. So next I want to bring up, and I apologize to our bus captain because when I was naming off the organizations that helped put this together, I neglected the name, their group, and I neglected the name in the beginning, but I want to bring up Jeremy Miller with the Aegis Stanley Foundation. Hey, yo, can y'all do me a favor real quick? I see some fists in the air, please. This fist right here, a lot of people know, right, the signification of Black Power, but right now this fist is for those behind enemy lines. Right now, you are showing that you are in solidarity with the prisoners in this gulag and in all the gulags across the United Capitalist Prison States of America. So we must remember, it is beautiful. I love the fact that we are all out here today. But we must remember this is a solidarity action. The true leadership is by those who are incarcerated in camps like this. They're the ones who are leading this rebellion. But there's a lot that we can do out here. And this, as beautiful as this is today, this is one step. This is not an end. This is a beginning. A new beginning at that. Not only is the prison strike that has been called currently not over after today, but folks, as you've heard from speakers today, the prison movement didn't start yesterday. It's been here and it's gonna be here until we close down each and every one of these concentration camps and end modern slavery in the United Capitalist Prison States of America. And I bring that up because there is a lot that y'all can do out here outside of the beautiful act of showing solidarity as you are already today. Can I see some hands in the air? How many folk are corresponding with a prisoner? How many folk in this crowd have regular correspondence with people behind enemy lines? Thank you all. Thank you all. I see a few hands and that is beautiful. I should see a lot more. The isolation in these gulags is one of the most ubiquitous and toughest forms of torture. That's why solitary is punishment. All right? The human beings, remember, we're pushing back on this label criminal. We are pushing back on these labels perp and all this shit. Right? We're pushing back on that. These are human beings in these concentration camps. They need our human contact as much as we need theirs. And if you don't think we need theirs, don't get it twisted. There will be no revolution without the most impacted people because those are the revolutionaries.
I'm not here to jaw-jack about it, but yes, I write for the San Francisco Bayview newspaper. I'm honored to write for that rag, and that is one of the rags that has been holding the strongest with prisoner solidarity, with prisoner liberation, news, media, and let's face it, folks, a lot of these rags, this is not the corporate press, this is not the corporate media. There are no giant foundations behind it. There's no government money behind it. These are people's institutions, and people's institutions do not survive without the support of the people. So there's no specific ask right here today. But if you believe in people's media, whether it be the Bayview or other outlets, and you want to see it out there so that we can keep alive on the media front of this war, then y'all need to support your local people's media, because otherwise they won't be here. And finally, I would like to say, I know a lot of people out here with organizations, and there have been different shout-outs, and big shout-outs to all the organizations that are endorsing the strike and supporting all the various actions. By the way, big shout-out to the folk at Lee Correctional Facility, right, in South Carolina, who are also out here today. This motherfucker's coast to coast, y'all. But what I was going to say is, if for some reason you are not currently affiliated with an organization, that's cool. But look at some of the literature that's coming out, because there's a whole bunch of organizations doing great work on different aspects of this war, and they all need more help. So check in, get to know people, meet people. If you're good, solid with your organization, if you are connected with an organization, and you're good and solid with that outfit, that's cool. Make an interorganizational contact. See how your organization can coordinate tougher with some of the other people out here on the field. Organizing is an ongoing, living project that we're all involved in here, and we need to keep that alive, keep moving, get tighter, get more solid. We need to never forget that we will win, and this shit will be shut down.
Thank you, Jeremy, for that. So, the idea was not just another mobilization, not just another rally, that we were going to put some work in. We were going to get on those phones and call these administrators and tell them that we support that strike, that we're holding them under tight scrutiny if they're going to retaliate or whatever. And what has happened? Well, this has happened. As we came up here, we had another site, but they blocked us out, right? You know, people had to come back all the way around. They blocked it down. They heard about this going on, but we still persevere. We're still here. I want you to, if anything, that you take away from this today, besides the quest to want to get involved in an organization around this issue, I want you to take this today. Just imagine that these prisoners who called this strike and are participating in the strike, they're doing work stoppages, they're boycotting the commissaries, they're doing sit-ins, and all of these other activities. Take this with you. They are putting themselves at risk. There's going to be some get back on them, but they decided to do it anyway. They just said, please support us out there, what we're doing, and we've done that today. We've done that day. You got to everybody give yourselves your hands. You've done that. You came out. But just think about the risk they're putting themselves into, and a lot of the things are going to happen as a consequence of this, but they're doing it, and they're going to do it. So take that back with you. As I was saying, they tried to block us, keep us coming in. We came in. Now we're just going to phone the prisons, right? But guess what? They shut down all the phone lines. But that's okay. That means we were effective. Some people say, well, you know, a lot of times, young organizers says, I think I'm being spied on. I think they're tapping my phone. They're going into my school and asking questions about me. And I always tell them, like we say in the Black Panther Party, well, if you ain't doing shit, don't expect shit. If you're being effective out there, yeah, they're coming at you, man. You know, they don't mess with no poop butts. They don't fuck with no poop butts. So you being effective, you better expect to get spied on, phone tap, followed around and all that. Wear it with a badge of fucking honor. Because you've been effective. You're putting the fear in the heart of these beasts. Right? You know? You're putting the fear. So, because of that, all's not lost. My sister Ashley, who's around here somewhere, she has a list of the numbers and stuff, right? For phone zaps. So we're going to ask you to make a commitment to do that anyway. And Ashley, you're around, you can start passing those numbers out. So I'm not disheartened by that. That means we were effective. We made them shut down their lines, y'all. So ATT and the rest of them ain't gonna make no money today. They ain't making no money off of us today. So we're gonna wind it down. We're gonna wind it down. We want to keep people out here. We accomplish our mission. The newspapers got great press coverage, so those newspapers go into the prison so they'll know we were out here, right? Yeah. We haven't been getting all the numbers because it's sporadic because of the risk and security, you know, that's going on in the prisons. And the prisons do not tell us. You know, the last hunger strike, it took the prisons 3 weeks to acknowledge that there was a prison strike going on. So we understand that, but we're here. They're going to see us in those newspapers, right? So anyway, so we're gonna wind it down. We always like to end with expression, well, through an expression of unity, right? Because that's how we're gonna do it. It's gonna take all of us, right? This revolution is gonna take all of us and more. Everybody, no matter what your skin color is, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your sexual preference is, and on and on and on. It's gonna take everybody. There's no one organization or no one party is going to bring the revolution. The people make the revolution. The people are the vanguard. The people are the architects of history. That's us. We the people. Now I would like to make a humble request to San Quentin staff. If you could go back and let the folks know on there we were out here today and we support them. Can I trust you to do that? Can I trust you to tell your fellow correctional officer to open the gates and let them out, and you guys go out and get the real criminals in this country? You guys lock up. You guys lock up those responsible for the conditions that the people are in. Jail them, and once you jail them, you can kick their ass and torture them, put them in solitary confinement. I don't give a fuck. We want to end with a sense of unity through an expression of unity. So can I get everybody to repeat after me? They may beat us. They may cheat us. They may mistreat us. But they'll never defeat us. Why? Because we're too strong. We're getting strong. And we keep on keeping on. Why? Because we're too legit. We're too legit. Too legit to quit. Too legit to quit. And we're going to get rid of this bullshit. All right. All power to the people. 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 So we want to start heading back out now. Beat the traffic. All bus people, please get on the bus. We're on a tight schedule. We don't have any money to pay them extra if we're late. So anyway, again, thank all of y'all. Thank you. And there's a couple extra spots on the gray bus in the back.
How's it going?